Welcome to the Rainmaker Podcast, a show for people who are obsessed with all things marketing. I'm your host, Veronica, Romney, certified master marketer, international keynote speaker, workshop facilitator, and the author of a new book called Identity Marketing. Each week, I interview rainmakers from brands big and small to pull back the curtain on what's actually working in marketing today. We dig into real-life wins and losses and their very real consequences, and get into spicy discussions of marketing controversies and opposing philosophies. This is the real marketing thought leadership you've been looking for in your ears on demand. This is the Rainmaker Podcast. Welcome back, you guys. If you watch the video of this conversation, you will literally see me like smiling like, a nerd from ear to ear because it was such a great conversation with Tracey Panek from Levi's. She is the first that I've ever met. She's an actual historian on the marketing team at a brand that has now past 175 years of history. Oh my gosh. Oh, we talk about so many fun things. We talk about the Beyonce campaign. We talk about the blessing and burden of, honoring the history of a brand this long, but also still wanting to be center of culture. We talk about, what maybe Jaguar didn't do that they do so well. We even started riffing on some creative ideas that Levi's could do next. What a great conversation around being more than just a product, identity, and leveraging the psychology of novelty, how to make something old, established, historical still feel so fresh, new, exciting, and in the case of Beyonce, sexy, let's be honest, right? So I'm so excited to welcome my next guest, Tracey Panek. Tracey, welcome to the Rainmaker Podcast.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to have you. Actually, let me give you words of affirmation are my love language. So let me just flower you with some praise. You are unique to me. You're like a unique find because I have never personally come across a historian on the marketing team. And that's exactly what you are. You are not just any historian, but like a brand historian for Levi jeans. And you are officially, if I'm not mistaken, as far as your company hierarchy, you are org chart wise, you are nestled in the marketing team. Is that true?
I am.
Okay, so how does that work?
I am a trained historian. So I got my graduate degree in history.
Yeah.
And when I was thinking about what to do, what I teach, did I want to go into a museum or something like that?
Right.
No, I decided I wanted to join a company and try to use history and make it relevant. So yes, it's very different. And I am definitely part of the marketing team. I report to our vice president of global marketing. So,
okay. Take me into the office. What is in real ways, how does having a historian inside a department such as yourself at a company with this amount of legacy? I mean, we're talking over 100-year-old brand. How do they utilize you? How do they leverage you day in and day out?
Well, if you were to come in with me, you'd be coming into our offices in San Francisco. All right. So when we're located in San Francisco, this is the city where Levi Strauss arrived during the gold rush. Levi Strauss, our founder. Yeah. And in 2028, we turn 175, which for an American apparel brand is pretty remarkable that we're still around today. So you would come into our headquarters. We're doing a little renovation right now, but I actually don't sit with the rest of the marketing department. Even though I report there, I am on our first floor and very close to our museum. We have a small corporate museum. Cool. And in addition to being the historian, I manage the archival collection. So I'm also near the collection. And I have folks that I host, designers. The company designers are the ones that probably spend the most time in the archives looking at our pieces for inspiration for new pieces. I answer questions. I am involved in the marketing efforts and what it's going to look like, what the visuals will be, references to what we've done in the past, and how we stay relevant. I was looking at some products this morning, and there's some errors that I need to correct with some of the dates that they've got on there. So it's partly being being the one to interpret and to make sure that that when we say we are authentic, we mean that factually we are telling an accurate story.
It's funny because I know before we officially turned on our podcast, I was telling you that I started my career at Ancestry.com, which is an online genealogy subscription company, so very history based.
Yeah.
And I was their email marketing manager, deploying all the emails. And part of the process of getting an email to millions of people was we always had to stop at quality assurance. Like everything had to go through quality assurance. You remind me of that, but you're like history assurance.
Correct. History assurance. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the funny things when so I am the second historian. The first historian at the company to be hired was hired in 1989 by the last the last family member of Levi
Ah,
Strauss. He's still around. His name is Bob Haas. He's the great grandnephew of Levi himself, and he recognized the importance of the company legacy, and so he hired a historian
yeah.
to keep things straight. And one of the things she did early on is a lot of company advertisements from like the 50s on said included the tagline "Since 1850." Well, as it turns out, Levi himself didn't arrive until 1853. And so
Slightly
it
off.
was like, well, no, we gotta, and it happened kind of in conjunction to California, in conjunction with California celebrating their centennial. And we wanted this nice round number. And, but the truth is that that wasn't accurate. So we had to, we had to go change that. And when I see that date on some of our advertisements, I can usually date it because it was before she was
Yeah.
officially doing her
Yeah.
work.
Leave it to marketing to try to round out some numbers. That sounds like us. Yeah, I love your tagline that you said on stage at the gathering, the youngest, oldest brand in the world. And this is why I really wanted to have you talk because selfishly, I do this keynote presentation workshop for the ANA that I'm a faculty member for, where it's called Novelty Quality: How to Make Established Brands Feel New and exciting by leveraging the quality of novelty, which is the psychology behind that. When you're exposed to new things, you get real excited, you lean in, you want to learn more, as opposed to like marketers having to harass you to pay attention to us.
Yeah.
So then the fact that you're here with this 175-year-old brand and you're doing campaigns with Beyonce, but then the company cares so deeply about the integrity of its legacy that they has a historian on payroll, that like I just want to explore that deeply with you because I think it's I'm in awe of it. I want to pick your brain. How does a company this old feel so sexy and exciting again? Like walk me through those conversations internally.
Well, we don't want to use history in the dusty, always looking back way and getting stuck there. We definitely want to be grounded there, and it's important to stay rooted and to understand who are you. Stay true to the products and the things that make you as a company, you as a brand,
Right.
uh, to make that true. But you also don't want to be, but you want to be looking ahead and staying relevant. And that balance is easier said than done. You have to
Yeah.
be willing to do new things, stay at the center of culture. That's the marketing language we like to use at Levi. Staying at the center of culture, which means observing what's happening and being, how can we be a part of that and stay relevant? But recognizing, how do we stay relevant in the Levi's way, and what does that mean?
Center of culture. This also came up with MTV when they did their presentation, how like MTV has literally been an influencer, a pioneer of cultural shifts and movements because of its demographics. What you did on stage by kind of walking us through these like really beautiful examples of your people using your products and adjusting it, personalizing it, making it their own. You guys taking light of that, incorporating it both in your marketing campaigns, but also in the product itself and product lines or different models of the jeans or the clothing and the different articles. Walk me through that because this is something that's come up before. Like I remember Bill from Yeti said, he's like, we try really hard not to hijack our customer stories. But then why in the world wouldn't you let your customers influence the next iteration of making the brand even better? So what's the goalpost? What's the guiding principles for you guys internally when it comes to letting your users kind of dictate the next iteration?
Well, I like to say we have a shared history with
Ooh,
our fans.
I love that.
So things happen organically, and it can happen with them. Sometimes it happens with the company. We might create a partnership with an influencer. Other times it happens organically, as it did in the case of Beyonce, who releases an album last year. Cowboy Carter, and it includes the song Levi's. So then how do you take advantage of that? That's kind of a unique situation. But for us, our stories are the best way, I think, for people to relate to what people have experienced. So we have a fabulous collection of letters. Back when people wrote
I
letters
know, right?
regularly,
Not text
um,
messages.
yeah, to tap into one of my favorites that I frequently tell, and I think I shared this
Yeah,
at
tell
the
me.
gathering, was the story about a man whose car broke down. It was 1938. He's driving. The car breaks down. He's at the side of the road. He goes to the back of his trunk, pulls out a pair of Levi's 501s. He's got them there. There's some rope there. He ties the rope to the pants, and someone stops to help him, and they attach the Levi's to the cars, and they use the Levi's to tow his car home. He's so amazed and at the strength of the jeans, and
Mm.
grateful that he writes us a thank you letter, and he sends us the actual pair. So we have that pair in our archives. We have the story, and it's a great story to emphasize what we emphasize in our trademark, which is that our pants are so strong they just don't rip. And we used that in 1989 as the basis for a television commercial. We jazzed it up. There's a handsome tow truck
Yeah.
driver who stops, but those stories and what happened to people, I think when you can tell those genuine stories, people relate to them because they're true.
Well, those are honestly some of my favorite movies are always the ones that are based off the crazy, ridiculous, true story of like women that took us to space that were never highlighted, women in war. Like it's always these really fun stories of or movies, creative creations based off like historical facts. Those
Yeah.
are some of my favorite things to consume. So why wouldn't we in the marketing department also lean on that when you are, I mean, literally swimming in these incredible stories of people using your products for so long?
Well, I think I absolutely agree, Veronica. And I think the key is having a professional like myself, somebody who's taking the collection,
Mm-hmm.
to be able to mine those resources.
Mm.
If there's no one taking care of it and you can't access it, then you don't have the opportunity to do that. So
Mm.
uh, we have a physical collection, so the
Yeah.
letters themselves, the garments, and we have a digital collection,
Mm.
things that we've scanned. We have photographed all of the vintage pieces, and every year we update with new acquisitions and new additions to the collection photographs, so that we can easily uh, get to those resources and send them out to media quickly, to people inside the company,
Mm.
whatever we need to do. But I think it's important to be able to understand, not only to have that, but be able to access it easily by having the resources available and somebody who can take care of them.
So I'm kind of obsessed with you first, yes, but also I'm kind of also obsessed with identity marketing. It's like the book that I'm writing and just how people literally identify with the brands so deeply that, like in the case of Harley Davidson, they'll be buried with their bikes. They'll be buried in their riding leathers as a hog, not just a Harley consumer or Harley
Yeah.
buyer, right? As a hog. And so I think about those stories that you were sharing from stage. women, men, different ages, different scenarios, different, I mean, freaking walks of life and economic situations and statuses. And yet they have such an affinity to the product. Dare I say, are we also talking possibly an identity, like connection as well? Have you seen that come up in some of the material that you're, overseeing?
Absolutely. Levi's fans are passionate
Yeah.
about their Levi's. So in 2023, the company celebrated the 150th anniversary of the original blue jean, a 501, which dates to 1873. And we launched a campaign called Greatest Story Ever Worn. Yeah, it was pretty bold. And
Oh.
we tapped into stories. One of the stories, since you mentioned the Harley story, was about a man who wanted to be buried in his Levi's, but he went further than that. He wanted everybody who attended the funeral to be dressed in Levi's, and so we kind of recreated that as
Oh
an
my gosh.
advertisement. Absolutely, Levi's fans are passionate. Levi's are incredibly personal.
Yeah.
And I remember, and one of the stories I shared at the gathering was about a bull rider who had a Levi's jacket. It was incredibly worn. Um, it's a Sherpa jacket, which means it has a lining. You wear it during the winter. It has
The fleece
this
inside or
furry,
whatnot.
fleecy
Mm-hmm.
lining. And I saw a picture of the jacket. It was actually a painting. An artist had done a painting of it, and somebody sent me the picture and said, "Are you interested in the painting?" And I said, "I'm interested in the jacket. Where does it come from?" And I tracked down the
Of
bull
course you
rider. It
did.
was not it was not easy, in Colorado, and we spent a lot of time talking about how he wore it. He was 10 years on the bull riding circuit. He would have the jacket on, but take it off when he was in the chute, use it to wipe off the rope, just
Mm.
before he would get on the bull. And he called it his best friend. I told him about what we do in our archives and asked if he would consider letting us have the jacket for our archives and telling his story. He did not want to let go of it. It took a lot of
Was
time
his best friend.
to, yeah, to let it go. And those kinds of stories, those kinds of experiences that people have with their product, we definitely want to tap into. I mean, I one of the reasons I joined 10 years ago is because I'd grown up in Levi's. In
Yeah.
high school, they were shrink to fits. 501s were what I have three sisters, what my sisters and I wore, my friends, and you would get them a little larger. You would wash them several times until
Yep.
they shrunk, and they would fit you like a glove, and you just felt
Perfect.
incredible in them. They're
Mm.
one of the few things that I remember specifically by name, loving, and still people today have those same feelings about the
I
brand.
whether or not you give me permission, I'm totally telling that story from stage because I there's a part in my book where I talk about the personification of the identity. And even if you're not in a product based business, but the feeling that this identity, being a hog, it feels real. And how do you do that? Is that you showcase your religion, you showcase your affinity, how you self label. And a lot of people will do that with clothing or, the friendship bracelets at a Taylor Swift concert or whatnot. And so that story where his jacket is his best friend, I'm like, oh my
Yes.
gosh, what a great story.
And you know what I
Gosh.
love about that jacket too, and about the products. The jacket had straw. He didn't wash it. It still had drops of blood,
Oh
and I
no.
don't know what exactly happened. But those were part. We sometimes I'll say Levi's are a canvas
Yeah.
of
Oh.
personal expression.
Ooh.
They tell and they record and document what happens in a person's life. Levi's and denim is unusual that way because the wear marks can tell you, was this person riding a horse? And you can tell if there's wear on the right side if that person was right-handed holding the reins in their hand. I think I shared the picture of the pair of 501s that were found in a chicken coop in in the Midwest. And on the back right side, just beneath the pocket of those Levi's, there were some marks They're vertical, kind of going out. And those are matchstick strikes. The person who wore those pants would light his match on his raw denim by just reaching back and and going like this. And we have it on several pairs, so we know that the owner was right-handed, that the owner smoked, and that's because it's recorded in the denim. So canvas for how they're worn, and then by the 60s and later, literally expressing your politics, and your style through your Levi's.
Yeah. My mouth is kind of like there's, it literally becomes their fingerprint. They bought it and then they personalized it so deeply that you can even like tell the story of a man or a woman that you've never met based off how they wore it, and the imprints literally like almost like a fingerprint in their jeans, in their clothing, in that garment.
It is wow. And one of my, I'll share one more because there's so many great
good ones. I know
in the collections, but
I want to come visit.
You'll have to. There's a little the Levi's and blue jeans are called the 5-pocket pant. And that's because there are 5 pockets, 3 at the front.
Right.
There's a small one on the right side, and then there's two on the back. So that little small pocket was originally created for a pocket watch, which was a common 19th century accessory. And we have pairs of Levi's in our collection, which have a little outline of a little round outline in that watch pocket where the pocket watch was worn. So there's a pair, one of my favorites, called Barnyard, because it was found in a farm in Northern California. They date to 1890, and they have that imprint of the pocket watch. And by the way, we didn't begin as the 5-pocket pant. There was only one single pocket on the back right when Levi's and the first modern riveted denim pant or blue jeans were created. In 1901, we added a second pocket to the back. That was the 5th pocket, but that's one of the easiest ways that I can tell if a pair of Levi's is from the 19th century or the 20th century.
Right, because of the product enhancement, so to speak, right? Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay, so here's, I'm not putting words in your mouth. However, if I were in your shoes, if there was a leadership change in marketing, let's say there was a new chief marketing officer, and every new chief anything officer is going to want to make their mark in the business, like I was here. Sometimes you see chief marketing officers come in and hold reverence to the CMOs or the leadership that was there before, and they feel like they're an extension of. Sometimes you see these leadership changes where people come in like, no, out with the old, in with me or my vision or the new thing. I mean, we saw that play out in 2024 with the Jaguar campaign, that like they literally did not give homage to a long history and canned majority of the things that people loved. It was really sad. Maybe I'm more inclined to be historically loving than I am like futuristic in science. I like looking more in the past and thinking about Mars. And so when I saw Jaguar do that, I was like, oh, like that makes me so sad, because they didn't honor what brought Jaguar to this place before modernizing it. Do you ever get nervous personally as this historian, as this history assurance role, that sometimes when leadership comes in or changes or direction change, that history could be jeopardized in some capacity?
It's a good question, because there are changes that happen a lot. And we got a new CMO in 2024. So
I didn't know this. I'm sorry.
No, so and he's great, Kenny, and Kenny Mitchell, and we worked together pretty quickly. One of the things that I appreciated is that Kenny, when he first started, he spent a lot of time looking at the Levi's YouTube channel. And I have a series called From the Levi's Archives, and checking out our history in order to be able to tap into that. When we launched last year our new campaign, which we call Reimagine with 2 eyes, featuring Beyonce, that was led by our new chief marketing officer.
That's cool.
Who was taking a new look and recreating a classic ad that we'd introduced, that we'd launched back in 1985. So a new way to do it. The ad was called Laundrette. It featured then heartthrob Nick Kamen, who it goes into a laundromat and takes off his 501s, much to the shock of everybody surrounding him, and throws them into a washing machine and washes them. And for the Beyonce commercial, which was launched last year, the end of September, it's a take on the same. The original ad featured the music. I heard it through the grapevine. But in this new ad, it's Beyonce's own song.
Yeah.
It's a woman of color.
Yeah.
And
it's Beyonce.
So it's a new, fresh look at this classic ad. So if you were the ad was launched in the UK in 1985. If you had seen that ad, you would know what the reference is. It's
Immediate.
A great ad if you haven't seen it, but having a new, fresh way to look at that history is a great way to stay rooted. Stay rooted in our history, but do something
totally
fresh.
And we're seeing it, like, I'm not to keep comparing you to the movie industry, but Wicked, that just happened for Wicked in 2024 too, right? Like, you have Cynthia and you have Ariana Grande, and you have these two incredible powerhouses, but then they have homage to the original, Elphaba and Glinda, who come in and also have a role in the movie, not to be a spoiler alert, but like, and I thought they did that. It was so good. It was so, because I think that's always like, again, when you have a new director, chief marketing officer, when you have that new person at the helm, there is this risk or fear that, like, oh, please, like, treat this baby as if you had originally birthed it, but I recognize that you didn't, and you want to leave your mark, and it's that line. And so I wanted to ask you this too, though, in it, as much as is it an honor to oversee and protect 175 years of history, is that ever stifling? Does that ever limit creativity?
So I wouldn't say it's stifling, but I certainly feel the burden of always being aware of that.
Yes.
I was just in some conversations yesterday about a product that has an incorrect date on it, and we don't want that. So I had to alert and find and track down the right people. And there's this, oh gosh, here comes Tracey again. But I think you kind of have to do that, and explaining why, and staying, and also being able to support new efforts. So there's that monitoring. And there's also helping with new things. You've always just got to be, and I do feel that it's, for me, it's part of the challenge.
Totally.
And part of what I like is how do you do all those things to stay authentic, to make sure you stay rooted, but also recognize that you've also got to stay young and fresh, and not feel dusty, as some people will think of if you think about history.
I need to pitch this to your CMO or something. I want there to be a Levi's movie. Like, if Barbie can have a movie and Nike can have a movie. Like, it's one of my favorite lines in the movie where Ben Affleck and Matt Damon do about the shoe, about Michael Jordan signing with them and having his basketball shoe with them. At the end of the movie, where Matt Damon has one of his incredible monologues. He's such a great actor, right? And he says, like, a shoe is just a shoe until somebody steps into it. Like, I don't need you to wear this shoe for you. I need you to wear this shoe so that it gives meaning in my life. Because then when I wear that shoe, I feel like I can fly like Michael. I'm like, like, it's such a good scene in the movie. But I think about that in relation to Levi's. Like, there's so many great stories, and I know that you're utilizing them for, ad spots and different marketing campaigns, but like, it could, I mean, right? 175.
It would be
it's a
great.
whole thing.
I absolutely agree, Veronica.
Gosh, pitch it.
It's not only the story. It's also a lens into so much of the change in from the 19th to the 20th century.
Yeah.
I mentioned the phrase that we use as being at the center of culture, but it's not one that is made up, because Levi's, well, first of all, Levi 501s, the original blue jean, were selected as the fashion item of the 20th century. And that's because they played such a pivotal role in important moments in time, counterculture, and in the fall of the Berlin Wall, and young people climbed on top of it.
Totally.
Levi's were used as a Cold War commodity, almost like money. And so being able to see through the lens of Levi's, how has time changed? What does it mean? And then, of course, the globalization of blue jeans, which you can find just about everywhere today. True. And that story in itself, this workman pant that started in 1873 to help farmers, carpenters, cowboys. How did the story of this product that is now really in many ways the default garment around the world, how did that happen? Yeah. I love that.
I love it. Let's shoot a movie.
There we go.
We don't know what we're doing. We're just saying that out loud. Manifesting. I have a personal question, because I saw you wear your Levi's in person. You're clearly doing it right now. Like, does every employee get like a budget? Like, what happens? How do we go into like the brand closet and shop?
We don't get a budget, but we get great discounts.
Sure.
And we get sample sales. So a sample sale happens regularly where we get to go in and check out things that were samples and buy them at great deals. So I take advantage of that.
For sure.
Take advantage of the discounts. I was a Levi's fan before I joined the company. Right. So it's and who wouldn't want to wear blue jeans every day to work?
I know, that's your like work uniform. How lucky are you that you get to wear these stylish? It's not just casual Friday; it's casual every day for you.
It's casual every day, and I'll just mention, because we are marking the passing of President Carter.
Yes.
And one of the remarkable things about that president is he really introduced blue jeans. He made them presidential. He was the first to come in, and a farmer from Georgia, and his uniform, if you will, or what he wore were Levi's. And when he came into the White House, you can still see, you can find pictures, if you look it up on the internet, of him at Camp David with Anwar Sadat, or being able to be outdoors and be comfortable with it. And people related to him because he was not only the president, but he was willing to wear Levi's. Just a nod to that. So, we are a product that began with very humble grassroots beginnings with working men, but we are now a product that's worn by celebrities, presidents, and everyone in between. It's a really democratic kind of a
It really
product.
is. It's funny. My little boy, I have 2 little boys, and they were asking me why the flag was being flown at half mast. And it's because Jimmy Carter passed away, and we get to celebrate that, our presidents, in their passing. So that's really, I didn't know that, actually. I love history, little nuggets like that. So I'm like, I'm gonna go tell everybody that.
Well, that was my latest project. So wrote an article about him that we're publishing tomorrow in honor of his, the funeral going on.
Yeah, like Levi
right
salute Jimmy Carter. Yeah, President Jimmy Carter. That's so fantastic. Okay, I literally, you and I at some point will have to have dinner, and we can talk about all the history, because I'm your girl. I love this stuff. I really do. You can ask my husband. I get really nerdy, and I go down the rabbit hole when I start to like really fan out about something.
You're in good company.
But we do this fun thing on the podcast where I've asked you all the questions I've wanted to ask you, and it's only fair that you get to ask me whatever it is that you want to ask me. Hey. So I'll let you ask the last question.
Well, you have talked now to a lot of people, different companies.
Yeah.
So I'd love your insights. What have you learned, especially now that we've kind of discussed Levi's? What similarities, what differences, what can you tell me about what you've learned about the companies that you've interviewed, the folks at the companies?
Yeah, I mean, if you went back and listened to any episode, I would tell you to listen to the Sarah Calhoun from Red Ants Pants podcast. it's similar to yours in the sense of like the pants are so much more than just pants. Like, or one of the stories that she shared on the podcast was a woman who was having surgery wore and asked to wear her red pants into the surgical room because it made her feel safe in front of this, like, surgery for her life, right? And so when you're telling me these stories about the jacket is their best friend, and the jacket is a statement of political, freedom of speech and my exercise of freedom of speech. Like, think about the personification of your pants is the cultural conversation to me. Like that pair, whether it's the 501 or it's the Taylor Swift jacket or it's whatever, like that garment, that brand is having the conversation without having the conversation. And like, how cool would you have this incredible marketing campaign where each of your garments was having the conversation that we all should be having on the surface? Like, I just think it's so cool. So yes, I've talked to a lot of people, but I'm being really honest with you. I'm so wildly inspired by our conversation that my creative juices are flowing, because that's just what happens. But I think with 175 years and with this, again, with the honoring of the past, but still feeling sexy and new. And I think about even like the workshop that I teach, or the presentations that I give about psychology of novelty. It's more than just the gimmicks that make you relevant. Like, it's more than just Beyonce, because it's what Levi is meant to Beyonce when Beyonce first got her start. More than just her wearing it or her wrapping the vehicle on that Netflix Christmas special. Like when she was doing that whole like halftime show during the Ravens game, and the whole truck before like Post Malone jumped off of it was like wrapped in, swats of blue jean. And so like, that's incredible. And then you're going to have a whole bunch of new buyers because she's wearing it. They'll wear it. But tying it back to the origin of why she chose you guys, because you chose her when nobody else did, that to me is the stories that need to be told over and over and over again, because it gives it so much more depth and meaning than just, a shoe is not a shoe until somebody steps into it. It's like, it's so much more than just the clothes. I'm so inspired.
I've got to go listen to that episode, Veronica.
That's so good. It's so good. And you would love her too. She's very sweet, just like you are. And personality-wise, you guys would be good friends, I think, in real life.
Thank you.
Oh, Tracey, you're a joy. You're a gem. You and I massaged our way into this conversation with our schedules. And so I just so appreciate you coming and sharing these you shared just like a fraction, 1/100th of what you could share. And so now, like, sometimes, I have on my list to go to like the Coca-Cola factory in Atlanta, or I do this or that. But now I really want to go to your museum, and I want to go next time I come in San Francisco. Yeah.
Well, we're going to reopen the expanded museum summer 2025.
Done.
So destination.
Invite me to the ribbon cutting. I'll be there.
And thanks for having me. Yeah. I'm going to head off to work in San Francisco now.
Okay. Well, you go to work and do the good work that you do. And I just want to say thank you so much for being on today's Rainmaker podcast.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening today. If you've loved what you heard, make sure to rate the show, subscribe, and leave a review. It helps us get the Rainmaker podcast in front of more passionate marketers just like you. And if you're ready to transform your marketing from buy this to be this, pick up my new identity marketing book available on my website at veronicaromney.com. Until next time, my friends, keep making it rain.